The palace of Oyo-Ile sat quietly as dusk approached, the sun dipping behind the stone towers and casting elongated shadows across the tiled courtyards. Inside the royal chambers, Alaafin Adegoroye was alone, the weight of his bronze crown pressing down on his graying temples. The flickering oil lamps around him danced like spirits, paying homage to ancestral shrines. Change was in the air for the empire, slow and dangerous. The borders were restless, nobles growing more impatient, and the treasury was draining due to wars and corruption. What once was the powerful heartbeat of Oyo now felt weak and unsure. In his private chamber, the Alaafin spread out a scroll from a province near the Niger. It detailed bandit attacks, missing tax caravans, and requests for military help. With a heavy sigh, he set the scroll aside, next to two others, similar pleas, similar warnings. Then a knock interrupted. "My king, Captain Aderoju is here," announced the palace guard. "Let him in," the Alaafin replied. Aderoju entered, clad in light armor, his sun-weathered face serious. He bowed deeply, as was the custom. "You summoned me, Kabiyesi?" The Alaafin examined the young warrior, his gaze softer than it used to be. "Come closer, Aderoju. Sit with me not as my subject, but like my son in spirit." Aderoju hesitated for a moment, then lowered himself onto the mat. "I've ruled Oyo for 25 harvests," the Alaafin began, his voice slow, reminiscent of an aging river. "In that time, I've seen both peace and war, but now I dread what's to come. You've ruled with honor, my king. The land still endures, but for how long?" The king asked, his gaze piercing into the warrior's eyes. "Don't you see it?" The Basaran sharpens his axe with sweet words. The Oyo Messi now serve their own interests before those of the gods. Even the Are Ona Kakanfo moves as if unsure of himself. Aderoju remained silent. These were words that a king usually kept to himself. Yet the weight of these thoughts had to be shared. "You, Aderoju, represent the last echo of what Oyo once was, brave, loyal, just. But I worry that your righteousness may soon become your downfall. If my life must be given to protect the throne, I stand ready," Aderoju replied, firmly. "I know," said the king, his voice steady yet heavy. "That's what terrifies me. You might die for a throne that has forgotten its meaning of sacredness." Silence stretched between them, weighted by centuries of both glory and decay. The Alaafin stood, slipping a ring from his finger. It was simple yet ancient, handed down through generations. "Take this, if ever the crown falls into unworthy hands. If the empire forgets who it is. You must remember." Aderoju knelt, accepting it with both hands. "I will, Kabiyesi." The king's tone lowered. "There may come a day when your loyalty to the people needs to outweigh your loyalty to the palace. When that day arrives, Aderoju, choose wisely." Outside, the royal gong sounded, heralding a brewing storm in the distance. Meanwhile, deep within the corridors of power, the shadows were listening. The sun beat down hard on the northern road as Aderoju and his group rode past the wooded groves and thorny plains that marked Oyo-Ile's reach. Behind him, 20 of the Alaafin's best horsemen followed closely, each one chosen for their loyalty, discretion, and strength. They were heading to Ilorin. Ilorin, once just a small town on the empire's edge, had transformed into a hub of ambition. Afonja, the Are Ona Kakanfo, ruled it now like a warlord, almost independently. Rumors of rebellion and alliances with outsiders, especially the Fulani clerics who had slipped into the area, were causing unrest at the palace. The king's instructions were straightforward: deliver a message of peace, but be on the lookout for signs of treachery. Aderoju felt a weight in his heart as the gates of Ilorin came into sight. The stone walls, recently reinforced, stood defiantly. Soldiers in unfamiliar uniforms patrolled the watchtowers. Many displayed not the Oyo crest, but the crescent moon of the Sokoto Caliphate. The welcome they received was formal but cold. Afonja, tall and strong with shrewd eyes, greeted them in his council hall, flanked by strange advisors in flowing white garments. "Ah, Captain Aderoju," Afonja said, his smile too broad to be genuine. "The king is honored by your presence. The Alaafin values peace above all, my lord," Aderoju replied, bowing respectfully. He sends his greetings and expresses concern. "It is said that Ilorin is turning away from Oyo." Afonja chuckled while sipping palm wine. "Ilorin is only seeking its destiny. The empire is ancient and weary. We shouldn't be tied to its slow decline." Aderoju's expression hardened. "The crown still stands. The gods have not abandoned us. The gods." Afonja Linden, Which ones? The ones who let greed creep into the Oyo messy? The ones who turn a blind eye to the pleas of our warriors sent to die in distant lands? Before Aderoju could respond, one of the white-robed clerics whispered something in Afonja's ear in a language the captain didn't recognize. Afonja nodded slightly. I understand your message, Aderoju, Afonja said, rising. You're a man of honor. But tell the king, Ilorin will forge its own path now. The chains of Oyo no longer hold us. Aderoju's grip tightened around his sword's hilt. Is that your final word, Lord Afonja? No, Afonja replied. These are, go home while you still can, and take your men with you. The next time Oyo sends horsemen here, it might mean war. Outside, the atmosphere was heavy. As they rode away, Aderoju noticed their journey was watched by men hiding in the trees. Assassins, maybe, lurking for a command that never came. That night, under the starry sky, Aderoju penned a note to the king. Ilorin is lost. The Are Ona Kakanfo has turned against us. He is aligning with unknown forces, possibly those from the north. The fire is ignited at the fringe of the empire. If we don't extinguish it quickly, it will consume the heart. As the desert winds howled across the northern plains, Aderoju stared into the flames, realizing that the war he had hoped to prevent had already begun.